District play heats up in Week 7 of the Texas high school football season. These are the picks. Welcome into the picks, your guide to the Texas high school football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and it's true. Here in Week 7 of the 2024 Texas high school football season, we are largely done with non-district play. There's some out there, right? Certainly the six-man ranks is a fair amount of non-district games still going on, but make no mistake, for almost the entirety of the state, district play is here. And these games matter. The stakes are being raised, and every game is going to help shape what 2024 Texas high school football playoff brackets are going to look like when they come out in like 5 weeks. Yeah, we're getting to the good part now. And I think you're going to see playmakers stepping up in big ways and meeting the moment, because that's what we're having here. Bigger moments each and every week. If you're looking for a reason to lock into Texas high school football, consider this your message. It's time to get serious, because we're going to have a lot of fun. That includes massive games in Week 7 of the Texas high school football season all across the state. There's only one place to start, though. We start in South Dallas. 7 o'clock Friday night at Eagle Stadium in DeSoto. It is a matchup of state-ranked defending state champions in 6A and rivals too, as the Duncanville Panthers visit the DeSoto Eagles. Yeah, it's time. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number 1, the superstars. And look, we can cut through all the nonsense, right? There's going to be a lot of talk about what's going to matter and not matter in this game, but we can boil this down to the star power here. It's not often you can do that in a game of this magnitude, but both of these teams have such outrageous star power on each side that it's hard to ignore. For Duncanville, you have the Alabama commit Keelan Russell at quarterback. You have the Oregon commit Decorian Moore out wide. You have a superstar safety in Tyron Polley, and that's not to mention all the other guys I am definitely leaving out right now. This team is absolutely loaded. Looking across the field at DeSoto, who is also absolutely loaded. The A&M commit Tiger Ryden at the running back spot. They have 2 outrageous receivers in Dalen Singleton and Boobie Feaster, a stud edge rusher in Keelan Abrams. This team is loaded for bear, and again, I'm absolutely not mentioning like 3 or 4 other megastars on this DeSoto team. These 2 teams are pound for pound the most loaded teams in Texas high school football from a prospect perspective. And we can talk all we want about the scene, we can talk all we want about all the other things that surround this game. But in the end, my question here is, which team's superstars shine the brightest on the biggest stage? Key number 2, the worker bees. So we just talked about the star power, right? The guys who are going to make big, splashy impact plays that are going to ultimately shape this game. But I want to take our eye off the ball a little bit and focus on some guys who may not play those big flashy positions, but who I think are integral to the way these teams operate. And I know these coaches would tell you that they're the glue guys that make this team go. Guys like Duncanville linebacker Nehemiah Borner, who has been so good for them, or their big offensive lineman Cam Newhouse, who has been such a rock-solid member of that offensive line. On the DeSoto side, you look at guys like their outstanding defensive tackle Jaden Randall, who's been really good for them in the middle of that defense, or their big offensive lineman in Byron Washington. I mean big, the viral sensation has been crucial to their success. This is one of those games where it's going to be easy to pay attention to who has the ball, because the guys who have the ball are incredible, right? But take your eye off the ball in this one. Look at the linebacker spots, look at the front 7, look at the offensive line, pay attention to those guys, because the glue guys are ultimately what's going to win this ball game. And key number 3, the rivalry. So there's not a whole lot of playoff implications in this game, which is strange, right? For 2 of the very best teams in the state, there's just not a whole lot on the line as far as what the playoffs are going to look like. DeSoto is going to go to the 6A Division II bracket, which they've won the state championship in each of the last 2 seasons. And Duncanville is locked into the 6A Division I bracket, where they've won the state championship each of the last 2 seasons. These are 2 of the preeminent teams in Texas high school football, and yet when they meet, there's not a whole lot on the line functionally, but don't tell them that. These 2 teams don't like each other, and these 2 teams have grown into rivals that I think is starting to reach a boiling point. And I think the reason is pretty simple, right? Because there's a lot of talk about these teams. Going into last year, all the talk was around Duncanville and how they'd finally gotten that state championship, how they were the team to beat, how they were absolutely rocking and rolling, and no team was going to stand in their path. And I think DeSoto got tired of hearing about it. And I think DeSoto went out there and beat them, plain and simple. And I think their win last year really vaulted them to that ultimate legitimacy of being pound for pound the best team in Texas high school football last year. Well, now that conversation's been going on for a year. And I think Duncanville's sick of hearing about DeSoto. They're thinking, well, what about you? You beat us one time and suddenly you're the talk of the town? I think that there is a real rivalry budding between these two teams. And I think that's going to come to a head on Friday night in DeSoto. Now, with that rivalry comes emotion. So I want to see which of these teams can handle that environment, and more importantly, which of these teams can take it to their arch rival. Who am I picking? Going with DeSoto. The Eagles get the nod here on the strength of their offense. Being at home helps as well, but when you take a look at the balance and the variety of ways that they can beat you offensively, that's where I think they have the edge. Tiger Wright and their big outstanding weapons on the outside, like Booby Feaster and Dalen Singleton, they can beat you in so many different ways. Plus the edge rusher off the edge in Keelan Abram, I think could wreck some shop in this ball game. Now, this is going to be a great defense that they're going up against, right? This Duncanville defense has been absolutely outstanding, and we have concerns about the DeSoto defense. I think well-earned concern. When you take a look at what happened a couple of weeks ago against North Crowley, they got lit up, and their secondary needs to play their best game yet going up against Keelan Russell and DeCorian Moore. That is one thing. There's two guys whose names we haven't mentioned that I think are going to have a big impact on this game. One of them is Duncanville running back Jaquaylin Armstrong. They have to be able to run the ball. I think that if you allow this DeSoto defense with Keelan Abram to pin their ears back and come after Keelan Russell, I think that is going to be a problem. They have to be able to run the ball. I think Jaquaylin Armstrong has to be the tip of the spear for that. The other one, we haven't mentioned the DeSoto quarterback in Keldon Ryan, who has had his moments of looking absolutely outstanding all year long. He needs to play his best game yet, take care of the football, and be a true distributor of the football in a comfortable way back there. Look, this game is too close to call, plain and simple, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if Duncanville won this game. But in the end, at home, I think DeSoto is your slight favorite. I think the Eagles come away with a good win. Let's go to the Panhandle, 7 o'clock Friday night at Greyhound Stadium in Groover. It is a District 1-2A Division II opener as the Groover Greyhounds welcome in the Stratford Elks in a state-ranked matchup. Hey, did you know Groover's 6-0? That's right, the Greyhounds are off to a really hot start, thanks in large part to a high-flying offense. 54 points per game are the Greyhounds. They're off and running. Get it? Greyhounds running. Anyway, Rick Satterfield, their outstanding quarterback, has been terrific. Dax Conyers, if you recognize that last name, is doing work on the outside. They've got a big-time running back as well in Walker Maupin. They have been very strong offensively. But here comes their biggest test to date against state-ranked Stratford, which has gotten the wheels back on after 2 consecutive losses earlier in the year. We talked a lot about Bryce Braden, who is their do-everything moose back there who can throw, run, tackle, intercept, stir the Gatorade, do a little bit of everything. But I think that the emergence of Julio Valdez, their running back, has given them another weapon offensively, and I do think their defense has tightened up lately as well. Groover's got the firepower to go score for Stratford, but I don't think the Stratford defense lets it get there. I think the Elks come away with a win. 7 o'clock Friday night at Jacksboro ISD Stadium. It is a District 6-3A Division II matchup between the Wichita Falls City View Mustangs and the Jacksboro Tigers. It's a fascinating ball game because both teams have a dynamic duo that you're going to hear a lot about. For this City View team, which I think is the best team in Wichita Falls this season, it starts with their quarterback Malachi Williams, but they have an outstanding running back in Keyshawn Perry, who has been very strong to start the year as well. They play well off of one another, and their offense has been rolling as a result. On the other side, for Jacksboro, they've got a pass-catch combo you've got to see in Wyatt Gavitt, their outstanding quarterback, Cannon Valenzuela, their wide receiver and linebacker, who really dazzled us at State 7-on-7 this offseason, and we have not been able to quit watching his highlights. He is a human highlight reel out there on both sides of the ball. The way you split these two teams, in my opinion, is that Jacksboro has a slightly better defense, and I think that may be the edge in a close game. I think Jacksboro gets an important district win. And let's go to San Antonio, 7 o'clock Friday night at Orem Stadium in Alamo Heights. It is a District 13 5A Division II matchup between the Alamo Heights Mules and the Victoria West Warriors. So Alamo Heights has been state ranked in the top 5 all year for us, but we haven't really talked a ton about them. I think in large part because I think they've just been better than everybody that they've played, at least till they got the district play and played a game against Bernie, which Bernie kind of pushed them. They've got a guy in Michael Terry III who is, box office. He's unbelievable. If you've never seen this guy, he is one of the most dynamic playmakers in the state of Texas, and I think that the emergence of running back DK Garza has really allowed them to be diverse offensively, and that's given them a real edge in their game. Victoria West is the party crasher here. They are off to a 6-0 start, which is already matching their win total from each of the last 3 seasons. They have done an outstanding job, and I think a lot of it comes back to their quarterback, DJ Martinez, who has been really solid for them, and an opportunistic defense. Last week against Kerrville-Tivy, they had 3 first-half interceptions to kind of run away and hide from the Antlers, and that's what they got to do this week as well. I think they got to start fast on the defensive side, come up with plays, steal a couple of possessions, and play from ahead. In the end, I think Alamo Heights is a little bit more of the balanced team in this one, and I give them the slight edge. But those are far from the only big games in Week 7 of the Texas high school football season. Let's get to the lightning round. I like Lexington over Thrall. Give me Stanford to take down Cisco, and Cedar Park gets by Georgetown Eastview. I like Mason over Thorndale. Give me Wascom over Beckville, and I'm going with Albany to take down Miles. I like Newton over Woodville. Junction takes down Centerpoint, and Jim Ned gets a win over Comanche. I like Canyon Randall over Dumas. Give me Canyon to take down Canyon West Plains, and I'm going with Waco University over Brian Rutter. Ira Ann takes down El Dorado in our private school game of the week. I like Argyle Liberty Christian over Plano Prestonwood, and give me Burton to edge out Somerville. Refugio knocks Santa Maria from the ranks of the unbeaten. I like Brownsville Veterans Memorial over Harlingen, and give me Lovelady over Overton. I like Smithson Valley over San Antonio Wagner. Give me Somerset over Canyon Lake, and Goliad beats Corpus Christi London. I like Abernathy over New Home. Poth takes down Cotulla, and Denton Ryan bounces back with a win over Richland. I like Windthorst over Archer City. Electra takes down Seymour, and Argyle beats Arlington Seguin. In our 6-man game of the week, I like Jonesboro over Miami. I like Louisville to take down Flower Mound. And in a matchup of state-ranked unbeatens, I like Salina over Sulphur Springs. I think Kilgore bounces back with a win over Chapel Hill. Staying in East Texas, I like Texas High to take care of Marshall. And way out west, I like El Paso del Valle over El Paso Hanks. Talk about athleticism in this one. I like Hampshire Fannett over Silsby. Summer Creek bounces back with a win over C.E. King. And Belleville takes down Sealy. I like Montgomery over Huntsville. I think Spring Westfield beats surprising Aldine Nimitz. In a game that I think is too close to call, I like Klein Oak over Tomball. Seminole stays perfect with a win over Fort Stockton. I think Carthage gives Center their first loss of the year, and give me Garrison over Shelbyville. I like Mount Enterprise over Grapeland. Huge game in San Antonio. I like Johnson over Reagan, and I like Ropes to beat Tahoka. Wolf of Friendship over Powers Midland. I like Lampasas over Brownwood, and give me Franklin to beat Troy. Huge game in Central Texas. I like Temple over Hewitt Midway, and it's the Kraut Bowl. I like Munster over Lindsay. Honeygrove beats Rivercrest, and Tioga beats Whitewright. And those are the picks. What am I wrong about? Games I leave out? Leave comments down below. Don't forget that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks for watching. Enjoy Week 7 of the Texas high school football season. We'll see you.